Morning to you, ladies and gentlemen, and once again a warm welcome to the second day of Thai Global Summit 2020. Thank you so much for joining in once again, and get ready for yet another very informative session. The topic for which is virtual reality a game? Let me now go ahead and introduce the speakers for the same. We have Mr. Sumit Khandelwal, co-founder and CEO XOXODAY, in conversation with Avi Dwivedi, founder of Extended Reality Developers of India, XRDI. Well, welcome to you, sirs, and let me go ahead and hand over the session to both of you.
So first, thank you, Dhani, for this amazing introduction. And I'm really delighted and extremely honored that Thai Global Summit gave us this opportunity to be on this global platform. So I'm Avi Dwivedi, the founder of Extended Reality Developers of India, which is India's biggest XR community. XR is augmented reality and virtual reality. We are working towards a democratization of this technology towards students and businesses. So in 1 year, we have trained more than 10,000 people in this technology in this particular domain. So today we are tackling with this misconception that whether the virtual reality is a game, because a lot of people have experienced virtual reality in such a way that they have seen it in some mall or somewhere, and they have this misconception that it's only related to games. So I'm just going to talk my way out through some analytics and some numbers. I'm going to talk about that. This is something called the hype cycle of any technology. Any technology has this sort of hype cycle. And on this hype cycle, this is a 2017 graph. So virtual reality and augmented reality stands last. So what does it really mean? It really means is the beginning of this hype cycle. This is the innovation part. In this innovation part, the technologies are primarily starting and they are figuring out the protocol, they are figuring out the architecture, and anything could be changed in between them. When this higher peak, when we see this peak is basically when the media got the attention on that particular technology, some prototypes came out and media start talking about that, then this hype builds up. And the later part of this particular graph shows that their technology is now being developed and a lot of studios are being working on that particular technology. So virtual reality and augmented reality 2017, as we can see, a lot of development has already started. In 2018, the virtual reality is totally out of this particular graph, which exactly means that it's out of the hype cycle and it's now a particular established product. So also I'm going to talk about the 2019. Now augmented reality and virtual reality both are out of this graph, and we can totally see these does not exist in hype cycle anymore, which means they are established technologies, they have complete products and consumer ready products. So this is the 2019 landscape of AR and VR technologies. And I'm going to talk about this landscape because it's really important. In this, 300 plus stakeholders are there, 332 billion market size is there. So there are companies related to the very engine development, which is on Unity and Unreal, which provide the tool to build these technologies. There are companies related to the content production, which are Sony, which are Valve. There are hardware related technologies, which are basically Oculus and Facebook and STC and Pico. There are several stakeholders there. And also I'm going to talk, move to next slide, which is the market size. The estimated market size, according to the BBC Blocker report in by 2025 is $394 billion, and it's huge. So I'm also going to talk about in what sector the technology is currently experimenting. So obviously 75% of the technology, VR technology, is basically games, but there is also entertainment, in which also lies movie production, dance, art, social interactions, journalism, and so on. So I'm also going to talk about major key players, which are spatial VR collaborations. So in this pandemic, this VR collaboration tool has seriously shown the potential of virtual reality technologies, where you can collaborate with your teammates in such a way that they feel like you are in the same virtual space. I recently attended a Pitbull concept in Art Space VR. Art Space VR is a social virtual reality platform, and it was amazing to attend such a great singer in that. Also, educators in VR is the biggest community of educators which collaborate in virtual reality. They have this infinite virtual classrooms, and you can learn a lot of things from them inside virtual reality. So Geo announced Geo Glass, and it's coming in 2021. So we are really excited to see what's coming there. Flipkart acquired Scapic. Scapic is a XR engine, which means it's a AR and VR platform, and it provides a lot of content. So Scapic is Indian platform, and it's acquired by another Indian platform, which is Flipkart. So virtual reality is not just a game; it's a medium. I would love to conclude it like that, because the medium is something where the collaboration happens, and medium is somewhere where you can totally bring any kind of product, any kind of storytelling come together. So in like your phone is a medium, right? So in your phone there could be a health related app, there could be a religious app, there could be a fitness app, there could be a cooking show related app.
Great. I think thanks so much, Avi. I think this was really a great learning for me as well. And honestly, I'm a firm believer on meeting people in reality, and I think with that as a basic understanding. When COVID hit and then start working from home, it kind of came in as a big shock to me. While I'm in a place where I'm kind of working briefly about us as an organization, and what we do is we are in the space of people motivation. And when we speak about people motivation, it primarily means about how do you make your people, which could be your employees, your channel partners, your sales team, be far more productive, far more empowered, far more motivated to give in the best at the workplace, right? And while you build it as a technology, you at the core, at the heart, I always believe that, yeah, it's best that I can go in and give a pat at the back someone, right? And in this environment, when pandemic kind of came in, it kind of bring in a lot of change, and I think the whole ecosystem has moved very digital in nature. From a business standpoint, and what we do as a business is obviously helps us make money, but it kind of also builds in a thought that that's the new normal. What would happen is something what you just showed, and what we guys are trying to enable is today, when pandemic happened, when people started thinking of working from home, it became imperative for organizations to start thinking of what would be the next wave, or how would they be able to engage their people who are working from different places actively. The entire thought process of work has changed drastically, where companies are saying that it would be a omni format where some people will come, it would be rosters. People will still continue to work from home. Multiple companies like a Flipkart, Amazon have already spoken that they would kind of will be working from home till June. TCS is saying 25%. So I think what's kind of sinking in, and sinking into a lot of old people who were thinking that when you're working from home, it's a holiday, right? That used to be the thought from all old school of thought people. Now it's become that when you're working from home, it's far more productive now. And when you start thinking of that, there's also been a lot of stress coming in because people are working from home. They are always available. There's no such break in terms of a water cooler chat, or there's no such break where you go in for, say, for a coffee, or you actually just going in. So I think in that environment, what I've realized is there's an ecosystem of good technology tools which are coming in, and I think that's something which has really been meaningful. Sharing a bit of what we guys do and what's kind of been hearing around is, I think organizations have broadly started thinking of digital workplace as a new norm, and building in tools, right? And the tool starts from places where they can actively communicate, right? Communication, which could be more of video calls, more of the likes of Zoom, etc., has kind of really started taking in. That's the place where it's just started with. Now, that's kind of one piece. Second piece, they've started understanding that how do I make my town hall a process which is not really difficult? Is there a place where we can create those notice boards which are digital in nature? Is there a place where you can actually create a room where people can come in and just post something which is not about work, right? So can I create workplace environment where they might just use some channels which are beyond the work channels to kind of discuss about, hey, where do we party next week, and etc., right? So those are another areas where people have been thinking of. But it's also brought in a lot of people who have been working at home, who are in a state where they feel themselves isolated. They're not all people who would really be participative, right? So in those environment, companies have been thinking of capturing the pulse of employees. It's very difficult to understand that am I really am I is the organization doing well, right? People were worried about jobs, right? So is there a way that you can actually communicate it? Unlike in a physical space, you know that okay, fine. There's some action happening in the office. I'm able to see things working fine. But today I'm sitting in a place, let's say, I'm in some village in some city, and I really don't know what's happening. Am I really feeling secure in this organization? Right? Those are the thoughts which coming in, and those are critical because those lead to a lot of negativity. Those lead to places where people are not able to understand. So tools like capturing the feedback, capturing the pulse of employees have really started requiring. It also allows a place where people are able to the HR, the C level executives, they are able to get the pulse whether their basic things are taken care of, their hygiene factors have been taken care of. Now that's one place where a lot of organizations have started investing a lot of effort, right? The third area has been about now understand when you are in people, you can obviously look at the expressions well, right? But when you're not in people, you want to make it a place that, oh, I'm patting your back and I'm patting the bat in a place where everybody's getting it noticed, right? So in those environment, there's an increasing need of creating the culture of appreciation, increasingly need for people to appreciate for small acts we are doing because today if I have done something, I'm not able to show it to multiple people. So if there's a way that I'm able to appreciate someone and that's kind of going into the company wall, that really makes me feel good. Now that's the way we have to start thinking of. So we have looked at tools, and I think Zozo also provides with this Impulse platform, a place where people are able to build a culture of appreciation, building the thought of humility, right? Finally, everybody wants to be humble. As you keep growing, you want to appreciate small things which are happening. It could be I helped someone who was facing some issues around COVID. I was able to appreciate someone for a project which was really time bound. I was able to do something which was more team based in event. I was able to kind of appreciate, right? So that's something which have been done. And another piece which a lot of organizations really focused on, and these are places where they said, if this is a new normal, is there a way that we can spend some money to make the workplace environment as meaningful, which means a table, a chair, etc. Not everybody has been able to do that because there's a cost involved, but can I really spend some money on building rewards, right? We also have rewards as a big piece, right? And when we said the organization started thinking that, do we conserve money for this or do we spend more, right? Now, a good and a great organization differs where the culture which they have created. So a lot of great organizations started thinking of people a lot more now, lot more initiatives being taken, and that's what kind of really builds in the difference. So if I have to look at speaking to multiple employees in different organizations, people have been saying that companies have just been controlling cost, but they don't understand that if the people are just controlled in terms of cost, and these people are really unhappy, demotivated, they will never do their best, and which means your end customer would suffer. So as a philosophy, as an organization, we believe that take care of your people, and when your people are happy, motivated, and engaged, they would really kind of give in the best to make your customers happy. With that as a thought, I wanted to kind of spend a minute to explain what we do as an organization, what our organization is doing about virtual workplace. And I think in that environment, we realize that there are multiple companies who have come in. I think virtual reality, gaming companies who are trying to break this through. Have you any thoughts about how you are really trying to work with? Or is there a place where you think, or what is your organization been doing on that front?
So in this perspective, I really appreciate your thought process, and I really appreciate the work you are trying to come up with Zozo Day. You said it really well that people are the essential part of any organization, and keeping those people happy and keeping those people engaged, keeping those people motivated is a big part. So you cannot give them a new physical space. And every time you have an employee in a new office, he literally enjoys the office. So you cannot bring a physical office. You cannot change your physical office in every month, but you can do that with a virtual office. You can totally re-innovate, rebrand, and try to figure out what works for whom. So these sort of work we are doing with a lot of organization. We are also providing services in travel industry, and our major is in healthcare industry. So if I talk about healthcare industry, I've also a medical imaging scientist for more than 3 years, and I'm also figuring out ways. In travel industry, we are gamifying the travel experiences. So gamification of travel experiences provides more fun to the customer and provides more value to the organizations. So these sort of works we are focusing on in XRDI.
No, I think that's very interesting, and I think which essentially brings me to kind of places where I thought which might be meaningful for the audience to also
Right.
understand, right? What's like gamification, right? How so when you're speaking about this gamification, it also builds in about how do you build gamification within a place where it's kind of going in more productive direction, right? Now, I think which is very interesting, and that's something which you realize organizations have been started doing is can I really gamify the entire incentive programs for sales team in a digital space? Can I really drive KPIs? Is there a way to drive KPIs in a format that I really don't know that I'm actually asked to deliver something? I am playing a game, but I'm actually performing better. Because
Right.
one of the things which C-level executives also think is, am I able to measure the productivity? Am I able to measure the performance? Is my core business goals getting delivered? And if I am able to do that in a format by using some enablers which can help each of my teams which are working towards hard numbers and do that in a digital environment, nothing to beat it, right? So we realize we've seen a lot of these happen, right? And I think a lot of digital first companies in the space of, let's say, insurance, in the space of banks, in the space of retail, in the space of delivery boys, what they have looked at is to look at saying, let's build in gamification engines. Let's build in gamification as a part of their activity. So to take an example, is there a way to gamify that number of deliveries which a Swiggy boy has done? I kind of allow them to see that, okay, fine, you are staying there in terms of the top three guys. You can do so many deliveries and you really form to the next bracket. Is the SLA in which the call center executive delivering, can I really make it meaningful, right? So gamification has actually been something which is really captive, and I think the next level gamification is what you guys are really doing in terms of just not gamifying in terms of in terms of just data, in terms of KPI modeling, in terms of ways you can look game mechanics in this, but also to bake it in the virtual environment, right? That's something which is exciting. The other thing which I thought might be interesting to share with the audience over here has been employees have gone through the entire life cycle, right? So you're hiring people now, you are going through the people who are going through the exit. I was speaking to someone in the Razor Pay last time, and they said that they have hired almost 700 people in that time frame, right? Imagine the number of people who are getting hired and kind of going through some exit process as well. How can and I think how can you make the whole onboarding process very easy? How can you make it that the person is feeling at office? How can you think of creating the digital culture, right? You did mention, right, can I create digital workplaces? You cannot have those cool offices, right? You always used to say that, hey, I'm coming to a Google office, I'm coming to this office which is really cool, good food to serve. Those are not something which is possible today. Is digital workplace, which means how can you build that culture in a format, in a digital environment, which is digital social internet, digital ecosystem where people are able to use tools, where they are able to know and engage with workers actively. Culture is no more just about speaking about culture, but it's all about, is there a place where employees are able to get feel themselves empowered? Are the goals alignment happening in a very formal, in a very easy format, right? Now those are the places where tools are really helping and enabling it, and that's something where we think that a lot of progressive companies have invested a lot of money in, right? I think there's a phase where during COVID people were thinking of whether they should invest or not. Then they started thinking of investing, and now the companies who are really invested in the past are really going meaningful. And I think that's something we should keep on continuing. A thought on that is, I think, to listeners and people who are really thinking about it, is to, I think, while we're thinking of, I think digital first should be the way where people start thinking of workplace. Culture as a pure phenomena should be something which organizations start thinking that, can I create culture where things happen in a format where you really don't need people to look at others, right? You don't really need managers. People are performing because the culture makes them do that. And third, and the last one is, believe that it's more about making your employees happier and engaged, because those are the guys who would actually make your customers happy and engaged. I think that's kind of a place where, and I think we still have some time. Are we any remarks from you as well?
Yeah. So again, very great remarks. I would also like to suggest that with XRDI community, what the kind of message we are trying to spread is whatever the skills or whatever the domain you are working in, just don't worry about that. Virtual reality can definitely give you a boost and an advantage over the competition, because with virtual reality, whether it's gamification, whether it's training modification, whether it's process building, we have discovered various verification. This is why I'm suggesting virtual reality not being just a game and being a medium, because anything could be translated towards this, and anything could be added, any skill could be added and blended with this. I've seen people literally dancing in virtual reality and creating amazing artwork out of their bodies. So
Yeah.
this is literally an amazing visual to see.
Got it. No, I think next time we are holding an office party, we'll obviously use some of the modules which you're using. I think that might be really exciting. I think and that's something which really is exciting for multiple great companies to do. Uh, yeah, I think we are almost towards the end of the time. Uh, Dhwani, we want to kind of pick it up from here.
Yes, very much. Well,
Yes.
thank you, Mr. Sumit Khandelwal and Mr. Avi Dwivedi. Well, a very, very, I would say, a very sensitive, delicate issue that you picked up. I'm so glad you spoke on human behavior, which I think has changed considerably, because working at home environment, it kind of really affects your mind to some extent. And ladies and gentlemen, remember, virtual reality is a reality, it is not a game. But I believe psychologically it has kind of changed our behavior. So understand that change and work towards it. Well, because we are humans at the end of the day, we are not computers. So thank you for a brilliant session. And I'm really, really happy to hear what you said. And I'm taking away a lot of pointers from here. Thank you once again, both of you. Thank you, sirs.
Thanks, Dhwani.
Thanks, Tony.
Thank you. And ladies and gentlemen, please to stay with us. We have another interesting session lined up for you. Thank you very, very much.